Blake Lively, Part 11. What is she really like? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. We now turn to what generated the interest in scrutinising Blake Lively and also Ryan Reynolds in the first place. The film. It Ends With Us. The fallout following it and the subsequent litigation. From the moment Justin Baldoni announced in 2019 that he was adapting the best-selling book It Ends With Us into a film, there was widespread interest. Colleen Hoover's novel is regarded as a cultural phenomenon. It sold 20 million copies, and it became an internet sensation on TikTok, with more than 1 billion tags on the app. That must explain why I'd never heard of it, because I don't bother with TikTok. When Lively, who rose to fame in the 2000s, in Gossip Girl was cast as the main character, fans became even more excited, describing her as a perfect choice to play Lily Bloom, a young woman who grew up witnessing domestic abuse and winds up in the same position years later. Lily, a florist in Boston, navigates a complicated love triangle between her charming but abusive boyfriend, Ryle Kincaid, played by Justin Baldoni, and her compassionate first love, Atlas Corrigan, played by Brandon Sklenar. Released in August 2024, the film became a box office success, bringing in more than $350 million globally. Notwithstanding its financial success, everything wasn't running so smoothly behind the scenes. There were rumours of a feud between Baldoni and Lively, and those rumours began swirling before the film was even released. For a film about domestic abuse, the press tour for It Ends With Us was probably not what you would have expected. There were pink carpets, flowers galore, and the promotion of Lively's new hair care brand and her husband's gin company. Instead of advocacy on the red carpet, Lively highlighted fashion and florals. This does seem to be rather a strange thing to do. First of all, it smacks of not being able to read the room, which is often a complaint that's directed towards those that lack emotional empathy and may have faltering cognitive empathy. Secondly, it shows a sense of entitlement to engage in self-promotion, possibly hijacking the movie for her own purposes. Thirdly, it demonstrates a lack of accountability, a failure to address what the film is actually about, and instead make it seem like it's some light and fluffy production. Fourthly, it shows an absence of boundary recognition, with the promotion of your own hair care and brand and gin company, when it's meant to be a film that Justin Baldoni had created about domestic abuse. When you're a victim of domestic abuse, the last thing you'll be thinking about is hair care and Ryan Reynolds' gin. At the London premiere, press were told to keep questions fun and light-hearted, with one event organiser explaining that they were to steer away from questions on domestic abuse. Again, this seems rather strange and defeats the purpose for which the film had been made. Lively stated at the New York premiere, "You are so much more than just a survivor or just a victim." This sparked backlash on social media, and again seems to be an ill-judged comment. Is it simply the case of a stupid comment in the moment, or is it determinative of something more? Domestic abuse survivor Ashley Page criticised Lively's language and explained that Lively was promoting the film like it's the sequel to Barbie. Is this just clumsy promotional activity? Or does it demonstrate an individual who doesn't truly understand what it's about and is more interested in promoting her own interests? Lively was also criticised for saying, "Grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it." These repeated gaffes seem to suggest that rather than being a one-off mistake, that this is an individual who doesn't take the film particularly seriously, nor the themes that it addresses. This might be because she's just simply not interested. Quite possibly, it might be seen perhaps as a reaction to the allegations that we'll later come to that she's made against Justin Baldoni. Perhaps she's being flippant about the film because of the way that she has been treated, and therefore doesn't think that she ought to get behind it because of the way that Baldoni had treated her. Alternatively, it might be the case that these behaviours are demonstrative of a superficial individual lacking emotional empathy who's more interested in what she can get out of it rather than advocating for the issues that the film portrays. Furthermore, treating it like it's her own vehicle, something, of course, which we'll be addressing later on, and a key allegation that has been made against Lively is that she has essentially sought to take over the production and make it her own, elbowing Baldoni out of the way. Alongside the press tour being described as tone deaf, people started asking questions about why Lively and Baldoni were not photographed on the red carpet together at the film's New York premiere. The pair also did no interviews together during the press tour and at the London premiere, which Baldoni did not attend. A BBC reporter stated that she was warned by Lively's team to not ask any questions about Justin. Is this someone seeking to control the narrative because they have an innate need for control, or is this simply the reaction of a victim to the behaviour of someone that has harassed her? Internet sleuths also spotted that cast members, including Lively and author Hoover, did not follow Baldoni on social media. Neither Lively or Baldoni addressed rumours of a feud during the press tour. The only reference to each other was Baldoni telling Today that his co-star was a dynamic creative. She had her hands in every part of this production, and everything she touched made it better, he said about the 37-year-old Lively. Now, this is a telling remark because it fits with the suggestion that Lively has interfered, but note that Baldoni is complimentary about her. During the film's press tour, Baldoni hired a crisis manager, Melissa Nathan, whose previous clients included Johnny Depp and Drake. Shortly after the press tour, Lively then faced a barrage of criticism on social media relating to her comments on that particular tour, as well as from old interviews that had resurfaced. One of the interviews to resurface was the one shared by the Norwegian journalist Kjersti Fla, which I've analysed previously. Accordingly, the interview, which was from 2016, now appearing in 2024, was seen as questionable. Brandon Sklenar, who played Atlas in the film, defended Lively and said in a post on Instagram that people had been vilifying the women involved in the film online. He said it was disheartening to see the amount of negativity being projected, and that someone close to him, who had experienced a relationship similar to Lily's, had credited the film with saving her life. It's evident that there was a problem that arose in respect of the filming of It Ends With Us, which then spilled out into the press tour thereafter. It also was exhibited in relation to the fact that the two main stars were not having anything to do with one another, and the method by which it was promoted. This presents two possibilities. The first, as came later to be alleged, that Baldoni had harassed Lively, and Lively's response was to protect herself by not appearing with him and, in a sense, getting her own back over him by promoting her hair care products and Ryan Reynolds' aviation gin. That she didn't want to appear with him because of the way that he had behaved towards her. That would, of course, be an understandable response to someone who had sexually harassed you. The alternative is that, in actual fact, Lively's own behaviour was reprehensible, and this was a continued extension of it. That she'd sought to take over the production, that she was haughty, dismissive, and arrogant, that she regarded it as her own vehicle, and that mindset, demonstrating a sense of entitlement and a lack of boundary recognition and an absence of emotion and everything, persisted not only in relation to the film itself, but also in respect of the press and promotional work that followed thereafter. That she saw it now as belonging to her. That it was her production, no longer Baldoni's. And Baldoni, irked by this, stayed out of her way. Those are the potential outcomes in relation to what we've heard so far. And we will be digging deeper to learn more about what has gone on. Naturally, you've heard much of the allegations from both parties, and we'll be examining those as we move through the evidence and the allegations so that we can determine the appropriate complexion to put on these contrasting interpretations as to the behaviour. We're next going to move to what happened when the New York Times waded into all of this. Join me there in part 12.